Well, after 3 long years, on Friday, the New South Wales government has given the tick to Santos' Narrabri gas project. It's not the last hurdle, but it is the biggest. I spoke to Santos CEO Kevin Gallagher shortly after the decision.
We're obviously delighted that the project has now moved into what should be the final stages of the approval process. It's been a long time coming, but we've still got 12 weeks to go, and we don't want to preempt anything and get ahead of ourselves. It's now up to the independent commission panel to determine the final decision on the project. So we're just delighted that we're now into this final stage of the process.
Yeah, it's taken 3 years, I think, for this government decision to actually move forward. It's highly politically charged. Now, at the moment, you've got business behind you, you've got the unions behind you. You don't seem to have the opposition Labour Party really behind you, and there are obviously community issues. There's going to be a public hearing. How is this all going to pan out over the next 12 weeks?
Well, look, I mean, first of all, I can't predict how it's going to pan out, and I don't want to try and predict how it's going to pan out. But we're very pleased to get to this part of the process, because now we have the ability to contribute and participate in the public hearings and the final approvals process. And we will do that transparently and collaboratively. And we believe this project will stand on its own merits. We believe in the science. We believe in the robustness of the project. We know it's got great economic benefits hopefully to the people of Narrabri and the Narrabri region itself, but also to all of New South Wales.
The timing of all this is very good, I guess, for Santos, given that the government is looking to this manufacturing-led recovery. Just how significant could this gas production be for New South Wales and for manufacturing? New
South Wales will benefit greatly from the Narrabri gas project because as we've said all along, it can provide up to 50% of New South Wales gas needs, which can something like 1 million homes in New South Wales depend on gas, 33,000 businesses, and 300,000 jobs depend on gas. And as there was a report earlier this year pointed out, a typical bakery in New South Wales will pay up to approximately $25,000 a year more for its gas than the same business in Brisbane. And that's because the gas is imported from other states. So, we think New South Wales can benefit greatly. And as you point out, coming out of COVID and the need for new jobs and support for the manufacturing sector, I think that's why you're seeing that alignment between businesses, unions, and other stakeholders. Yeah. So, of course, Andrew Liveris, who is head of the manufacturing task force advising NEV Power and the government on all of this, he, I think, would like to push this further. He's talked even about a $4 price on gas. Now, is that achievable? And would that, if it happened, would you be able to invest in that project anyway? Well, look, I mean, I don't want to talk about what price is achievable. I think the lowest prices we're going to get are when we have the most supply. We're seeing spot prices in some areas down around those levels today, and that's because there's a lot of supply in the market today as a consequence of soft LNG markets and a slowdown in demand because of the various economy lockdowns. But in the longer term, I think just bringing more and more supply in from other regions and whether that be New South Wales, continue to grow our supply from the Cooper Basin, continue to grow the supply out of Queensland and hopefully in the future the Northern Territory, then you're going to get the lowest gas prices possible because you'll have that competition in the market and you'll have that supply that outstrips demand. And that's the only way we're going to get the lowest possible prices. Now, whether that's 4, 6, 5, 7, I don't know what that is. I know what the prices are today, yes. But I don't know what the long-term price will be because it really depends on that supply and demand imbalance or balance. Well, let me ask you about the global markets because it's pretty grim out there for oil producers at the moment. How is that impacting the outlook for Santos at the moment? Well, look, I've been delighted that we've been able to keep operating through the crisis so far and provide the essential services that gas does provide to keep powering the East Coast manufacturing sector, powering the hospitals and keep businesses alive where we can. Obviously, we've been impacted. The LNG markets are soft. The oil prices went down to lows that I never thought I'd see again in my lifetime. But as a company, because of our disciplined operating model, our strong balance sheet, our low cost structure, we've been able to come through this relatively strongly. And I'm proud of the fact that because we took the steps we did back in 2016, we haven't had to lay off any of our employees across our businesses, whether that's in Queensland, South Australia, or even in Western Australia. And that's something we're pretty proud of.
Kevin Gallagher, a great milestone for you today. Thank you very much for joining us.